Hello, BookTube. This is Weekly Reads. So, my reading week, despite the week being rather trying, was quite good. I read over the weekend King of the World by Philip Mansel. This is a biography of Louis XIV. Through the lens of Louis as a global monarch, as Louis within a global context, more as sort of international relations, war, that sort of thing. And I really enjoyed it. It is a phenomenal biography. My one critique, I think, would be that Mansel pays a little too much attention to Versailles. Although Versailles does obviously play a huge role in Louis' reign, and also one of the contributing factors, although not the contributing factor, to the weakness of France post-Louis. But I really enjoyed this biography. It was phenomenal. Now, I had originally intended, after finishing King of the World, to read Empires of Ice by Diana S. Kim as a Bell redemption. Unfortunately, life intervened. On Sunday, so my mom hasn't been feeling well the past few weeks. And on Sunday, she decided to go into the hospital. They figured out what was wrong with her, and she's on the road to recovery. She came home on Wednesday, and she's been doing fairly good ever since. So I think she's definitely on the mend. But I took, so I need a backpack, because I have a little attaché case or a little handheld case that I take when I go on appointment. I or my mom or we go on appointments, so I can hold some books, some hold papers that we get, whatnot. And unfortunately, it was only really capable of holding this. So I finished King of the World on Monday, and on Tuesday and Wednesday, I didn't read anything except for the for two University of Chicago Press catalogs, the Spring 2021 and the Spring 2022, of which I really want to get some poetry now. But anyway, so I didn't read anything on Tuesday and Wednesday except for those catalogs. So when I got back, I decided I needed some poetry. So I read, or reread, since these are both rereads, View with a Grain of Sand by Wislawa. Szymborska, as I've said several times, Szymborska is, or was, a Polish poet who won the Nobel Prize in Literature in the early aughts. Like, I think it was either the late 90s or very early aughts. I think it was actually more the late 90s. I really enjoyed her love for poetry. I've had this book for nearly 20 years, and I read from it constantly, nearly every year, and I just enjoy it. Every year, just so many good poems. And I also read today Voluntary Servitude by Mark Wunderlich. Mark Wunderlich is an American poet whose body of work is quite good. I've bought an edition of Voluntary Servitude around the same time, maybe a few years after I bought A View with a Grain of Sand. But I loved the collection then, even though I did unhaul it or purge it temporarily. I've obviously since collected it, and I enjoyed revisiting these poems again as well. So, my plans for this reading week. Hopefully, there aren't any more interruptions. Again, my mom is doing really a lot better than she was the past few weeks. So, hopefully she continues. But anyway, so tomorrow I'm going to read or reread, because I read this last year for for Nonfiction November. I'm sorry if I'm frazzled. I've been away from BookTube for a week, and it's just, yeah, I'm not quite, I guess, in the mood or something. But anyway, so I'm going to have another go at The Life and Death of Ancient Cities, A Natural History by Greg Woolf. So when I read this book last year, I think I had the expectation that the book would be about ancient cities in the Mediterranean and into the Near East. Instead, the book is pretty much almost exclusively Greco-Roman, like the cities that were founded by the ancient Greeks and by the Romans, which disappointed me, and I think that sort of set me off against the book from nearly the beginning. But hopefully, now that I've had experience, I know what to expect, I'll have a much better reading experience, which is what happened with Thieves by Paul Cartledge from last week. I really enjoyed the book up until when I first read it last year for Nonfiction November. The part with the Peloponnesian War, which was basically rehash, and I found myself incredibly bored. But when I came back to it just a few weeks ago, or about a week ago, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I love those chapters. So hopefully we will have as much success with The Life and Death of Ancient Cities. Now, over the course of the reading week, obviously, I probably really should finally get around to giving a Bell redemption shot to Empires of Vice by Dan S. Kim, and I think that's my goal for right now. I think it will be Life and Death of Ancient Cities and Empires of Vice this coming week. But I am definitely feeling the urge call to fiction. So I'm thinking the last few weeks of December. So after next week, the following, throughout the rest of December, I will be reading fiction. And I'm thinking right now probably The Conductors by Nicole Glover. This is a relatively new, I think its sequel's already come out, a new historical fantasy set post Civil War, in which two conductors on the Underground Railroad turn their hands to becoming occult detectives. And I'm quite looking forward to seeing how this story turns out. And of course, Bell Redemption for Wonderland by Stacey DeErasmo. And there are a few others that I might talk about in the coming weeks. But anyway, I need to run because I think there's a video call going on that I want to be a part of, because I haven't seen the 4 Children in the Apocalypse in like over a week. So I'm going to go talk to them. Anyway, next week I will try to get to a lot of tags, because there are a lot of great tags that have come up in the past few weeks that I really want to do. So I'll do them next week, hopefully every day, but we shall see. Anyway, BookTube, thank you. Have a great evening and weekend, and I will see you next week. So until then, thank you, and be safe. Or stay safe. Okay, goodbye.